since the engine was already black, the heads were actually still pretty good. And so I just flipped it upside down. I didn't even put the valve cover on it. I flipped it upside down, was able to paint it without getting anything. You can see the springs, they don't have any paint on them or anything. Yeah, just painted it gloss black, engine paint. Had some and just ran out of it. So, but I think it's good enough. There's a couple spots I would probably touch up a little better. I had a rag around the front of the crankshaft and kind of around the crankshaft seal. You can still see a little bit of the primer, the brown primer there, but you know, it's going to be hidden behind the thing. I just didn't want to get any on the crankshaft or in the seal. So kind of right in there, you can kind of see we got some paint showing, but it's good enough. And we're gonna go ahead and proceed with doing the rocker arms. Looks like I must have hit something contaminant right there, but that's fine. So yeah, we're gonna do the rocker arms, push rods, and all that, and then we'll be able to set the intake on here. Yeah, looks good. I like it. It's gonna look good in the truck. Just a quick check at top dead center so I can make sure my timing mark is correct on the timing cover. I probably should have just done this when the head was off, but I didn't. But I can get in there with my dial and indicator, so that's no issue. So we are at top dead center, and I've just kind of, the mark was not correct, and I knew it probably wouldn't be correct because I couldn't even get the balancer on. The mark, the tab was like bent down. This is probably, I don't know if I would go back with this same timing cover if I had to do it over again. I probably would try to find a you know, a used OEM one, but it is what it is. We've got it, we'll make it work. And I bent the tab around to where we're right on the money for top dead center. So we've got it. I'm gonna run through and adjust the valves. I'm not gonna video that. If I video that, there's gonna be 20 comments that this way is better, that way is better. But so there's a million different ways. You know, most of them end up with the same results. So you know, just pick one and go with it. So most of them are just fine. All right, this is the Vortec intake manifold, and this manifold costs more than what I paid for the whole engine. And it's definitely dirty, so we're gonna use some super clean and clean this thing up. I'm not gonna do like a full polish on it. We're just gonna clean it up, and should be good. So I'm gonna spray this thing down, let it soak for a while. All right, all cleaned up. Keep in mind, this intake had water all in it, and we've got it degreased and a lot of the rust staining off. I mean, this thing was so rust stained, and some of it's just gonna stay. It's just not gonna come out, and it's got some white staining in there that's not coming out either. It did smooth out. It was a little chunky, not chunky, but it was growing some stuff. I think the aluminum was starting to oxidize or something, I don't know, but it came off, but it left it kind of white stain there. Like I said, this intake sat full of water for no telling how long, and you know, it sat out in the weather, getting rained in, so it's as good as I'm gonna get it. We'll do a little before and after on the valve covers. I don't know what brand these are. Probably Mr. Gasket, because it had a Mr. Gasket oil cap on it. But I mean, yeah, they are what they are. They're cheapish chrome valve covers that rust. Of course, this engine sat outside, and of course that didn't help things. So this is just a before and after, and all I used was some Brasso, kind of polished it down with Brasso to kind of get some of this rust out. I mean, there's still rust in it, but it got a lot of it out. It was just the heavier spots. The sides are heavier, you know, because they sat like that, held water longer. So a lot of this will probably come out, you know, the side or top probably will not. So, but, you know, pretty good. So the Brasso, and then I followed it up with some just turtle wax chrome polish. And like I said, I didn't go crazy with these. I just kind of hit them, and I would probably prefer some OEM painted valve covers, but I've got these, so we're gonna run them because they don't cost anything. They are what I have. The gaskets that are in here, they glued them in. They look really good. I'm just gonna kind of clean them up, and we're gonna run these gaskets in here, because I plan on, once I get it running, I'll probably go back and adjust the valves with it running. And so at that point in time, when I pull the valve covers off again, I will replace the valve cover gaskets. So I think that's a good plan. To be honest, we could probably run these forever and they would not leak. I think the corner looks a little off. Yeah, the valve cover looks straight though. Those seem pretty thick. That's kind of, you know, most aftermarket stuff, you know, that's sunk in. They over tighten these, but a lot of aftermarket stuff, you know, is cheap, thinner metal than the OEM stuff. These may or may not be. I don't know. I don't have any here to compare them with. They feel pretty hefty, so maybe they're good. Like I said, I don't know. But they are what I have, so that's what we're using. So let me polish this one up. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. And there we go. Looks much better. So I'm gonna polish up the oil cap. And here, it's I think we can probably skip the Brasso in it and just hit it with chrome polish, and it'll be ready to pop in there. And then I'm going to set these on. We'll set the intake manifold on just to see what it looks like. I don't have 4 bolts were missing on the intake manifold, and so I'm gonna have to go get some bolts. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, they weren't here. They weren't on the engine when I got it. I think I remember 4 bolts missing. So far, I haven't lost any bolts, but knock on wood, putting this thing together. You know, I may not have the best system, you know, I throw stuff in boxes, but it seems to work. And I put everything off to the side. This engine's been torn apart for months, and I went off over, you know, I put it off somewhere where they wouldn't get disturbed. Went over there and, you know, found my boxes of bolts, you know, kind of organized to where they came off. And so far I found everything. And the box I had with the intake manifold bolts, there's only 4 in there, and I kind of remembered I was going to need to get some intake manifold bolts. So I'm going to have to go get some, and then we can kind of finish assembling. But I'm going to set it on there. I'll show y'all what it looks like, and then I'm probably going to quit for the day since I have to go get the bolts. There we go. That's what it's going to look like. So I don't know, water neck and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to use this one or use a different one. This is a aluminum one. I've got a steel one on the truck, and I don't even know. It looks like there is a thermostat in there. Before we put it on the truck, we'll figure this out. I may just use my other water neck. I don't know. We'll see. And some of the other stuff, you know, like that, we'll deal with all this stuff once we get the other engine out. These valve covers, you know, you can't, there is an orientation on them. And so on that truck, oil fill is right here, and the PCV is right here. And then the vent that goes to the air cleaner, where it draws air in, or where it draws clean air in from the air cleaner is right here. So we're gonna have to address that somehow. We can do it a couple different ways. It looks like the oil fill is probably gonna fit best over here. You know, if we flipped it around, would be oil fill right here, and that's kind of far back. So I think this will be the best option for us with these valve covers. And then we can do the PCV over here, and we'll probably just get a breather filter for right here where it can draw air in there. And there shouldn't be an issue with swapping the PCV over to here. We're flipping sides, but you want to make sure you have don't put them on the same side. You know, don't have a PCV and a vent on the same side. I mean, you can't with these valve covers, but I guess you could do one of those vented oil caps and a PCV over there, but that would be incorrect. You want them on opposite sides. And we can, like I said, we can flip sides with no issue. So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I am gonna go to the store. I'm gonna grab some bolts. Like I said, there was only 4 bolts in this thing when I got it. We need 8. They had pulled some of the bolts out from what I recall. So we're gonna have to fix that, and then we can put the intake gasket on, and we'll be pretty much done with the engine. The next steps would be, we could put the distributor in, stuff like that. But pretty much gonna have next steps being pulling this engine out. And there's a couple things I wanna do before I pull it out. And then there's some things I wanna do once it's pulled out, just to kind of, I need to find out where I'm leaking Freon and see if it's the compressor. I've got EnviroSafe in here, which has a dye in it, so I can get like a black light and shine around, and I should be able to see where it's leaking, and that way I can see, you know, if it's compressor. You know, we may just go ahead and just put a new compressor in this thing. We'll just figure that out. But for now, we're gonna call it quits, and then I need some. I'll need a good long weekend to kind of get this thing out, and depends on how long. It may take a couple weekends if I can't devote as much time as I would like to it. But while we got it out, we're gonna get the radiator. Take it to the radiator shop, get it cleaned out. There's a couple things we're gonna do while we've got the engine out. So we'll look at the engine mounts. We gotta put a shift kit in the transmission and replace the pump. So a lot of stuff to do. Our dipstick, is it gonna end up being on the same side? It is. So dipstick, I think, will be the same. We're gonna be checking it over there and filling it over there, which is fine. I'd rather do that than have to fill it way back there. And then we'll see if we're gonna run this dipstick, or I don't think it had a dipstick in it when I got it. I can't remember. I don't recall. So we'll probably end up just running that dipstick that's right there. And yeah, we're gonna have to clean up the vacuum stuff. I may do that while this engine's in here, so I can see what's here and kind of go through and pull out what we're not gonna put back. We're not gonna put an air pump back in here. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do for exhaust manifolds. I don't like this style. I don't like the ones that go up and over. It makes the plug wire routing a little more difficult. So I'd prefer to get some that go under. Also, I'm thinking about putting a air-fuel ratio gauge on here. And so if we do that, we may grab a set of exhaust manifolds like out of a 88 Suburban or 87 truck, you know, something that had an oxygen sensor, so we can just screw it into the manifold. That would just be on one side though. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm rambling and I need to go get some bolts. So I don't know where we are on this. I may wrap this up right here. So thanks.